report from the University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization forecasts a mild recession here in the islands over the next year, with a weakening U.S. economy threatening potentially a deeper downturn. Joining us now to talk about that and more is Governor Josh Green. Aloha and good morning, Governor. Thank you so much for stopping by with us.
You bet. Good morning.
So UHERO cites tariffs, trade concerns as the reason for this economic downturn forecast. Is there anything the state can do to mitigate this potential forecast?
Lots. So it's true. I think we are in a mild recession now already. It hurts when, of course, they add tariffs and then also make certain threats on Canada, and Canada represents an important part of our market. So we're trying to bring more people back in a sensible way. The way I can deal with it is, as cost of living continues to be high with tariffs and inflation, we lowered taxes. That's one thing. Also, there's a lot of jobs available, but they're not jobs that are high enough paying. So we have to kind of evolve the economy. That's why we want to bring more film tourism. Why we want to bring more sports tourism to refill kind of some of those travelers that won't come to Hawaii. But there's lots of challenges, again, because the tariffs are there and because there's a general kind of downward pressure on the economy. What you can see also is I'm going to make a significant overture. Even today, I'm speaking with the Secretary of the Army to bring billions of dollars of extra investment into our state to do land returns, to do mitigation of some of the unexploded ordinances, to do more potential for housing growth, which we need for our people.
As far as the new green fee, research shows that tourists are willing to pay that green fee. But with the economic uncertainty, do you feel like that might change?
No, I think that they absolutely want to, and I've been spreading the word. I've, been in anywhere from D.C. to New York, Japan, to make sure people understand what we're doing here. We are protecting the environment and making this an even more extraordinary place for people to visit. They will be contributing to the adaptation that Hawaii has to consider as we deal with climate change. And I found people to be very accepting and responsive, even positive about it, because they know they're contributing to a greater good. It sets us apart in an interesting way. Plus, those monies go to basically stabilize our tourism economy. And that's good, because that's an investment we've needed to make for a long time. Also, some of those monies will go towards protecting us against wildfires, against the damage from hurricanes, against flooding. All those dollars would otherwise come from our taxpayers. Instead, they come from travelers. It was something we had to do.
You had a recent big visitor that came to the island of Maui. UFC President Dana White was joined by Max Holloway, gave a nice donation there. Any interest in having a UFC event here in the islands in the future?
Major interest. Let me first say a great mahalo to Dana White. He was just an extraordinary guy. We are working now on a fight. We want to bring UFC to Hawaii. We've also talked to some of the benefactors of the UFC to do that. But it's not just going to be one fight. What we'd like to do is a partnership with UFC where we can perhaps bring a training facility like they have in Las Vegas to the stadium district. I think it's a very good plan for us. We'll hash out these details in the coming months, but again, that's more economic growth. It's more opportunity to kind of reshape some of the tourism experience that we have, and it's something that people are very high on. I also want to thank Max Holloway. He was very generous with his time, seems to be a very good dude. I wouldn't want to ever see him in the ring, but having that kind of excitement, there's a person-for-person higher rate of interest in UFC in Hawaii than anywhere else in the country except for maybe Nevada. So that's what Dana shared with me. Again, Max, there you see him on the stage jacking somebody. Let's have him do it here in Hawaii.
Yeah, Max lives Aloha, but yeah, he's definitely got the warrior inside the octagon, that's for sure. Okay, so the new Aloha Stadium, contracts just signed last week. Stanford Carr, very excited about that. Any idea of what's going to happen as far as renderings go, and we can look forward to that?
Yes, so we already have 3 beautiful renderings. Stanford's making sure that he has additional partners. We had $350 million into the project. Also, I'll be bringing a lot of extra infrastructure dollars and transportation dollars in partnership with the federal government. That's part of our grand bargain as we move forward. And we're going to announce in the coming days a statement of principles, which is always protecting the land, protecting our people and the environment, but also having a sensible relationship with the military on land use, on where we do our bases and training. But that's a way we can support the stadium and its infrastructure. And then it goes stadium, hopefully UFC, and housing, because we expect to have about 5,000 housing units over time there. And it is important that we have these extra partners. I continue to look for these affluent partners that are committed to Hawaii. And you will see that in the coming months and years. But we finally got those contracts signed so we can go forward.
The admissions policy at Kamehameha Schools is being challenged by the same conservative activist group that sued Harvard and got affirmative action overturned. Is there any role the state can play in this lawsuit?
Yeah, that guy is not Pono. I mean, he's just doing it out of opportunism. But I've explained to the federal government that diversity, and not in the way that people often at the federal level have complained about diversity. We are diversity by our very nature. We have 1/4 Caucasian, 1/4 Japanese, 1/4 Hawaiian, 1/4 Filipino, and then some smaller percentages of extraordinary ethnicities mixed in. What we are is a way for America to look forward in a way that is fair to all. But Kamehameha Schools is bedrock of our kind of approach to this. And I've already spoken to attorneys that are able to speak directly to the Attorney General, friends of ours, so that they can understand this. And I hope that we will be able to cut this off at the pass in some ways, because it's a fundamental misunderstanding that we would be showing favoritism. We are simply embracing our culture here. It's the same way I approached it when they were talking about taking monies away from the university on the question of anti-Semitism. I said, no, that was about colonialism. So Hawaii sometimes takes a little bit more understanding. That's why I meet with the president's team. That's why I meet with his cabinet. That's why I meet with the Secretary of the Army to work through some of these problems before they end up causing a further downturn in our economy or affect our admissions. Through collaboration, sometimes it's tough because, you know, we have differences of opinion and ideology in many spaces. It will put us into a better place. And I intend to manage Hawaii that way as long as people will have me for the good of our people.
Traffic fatalities have been a major concern throughout the state, especially here on Oahu, about double what they were at this time last year. What is the state working on? I know the Department of Transportation is working on dash camera footage that they can use to help reckless drivers, et cetera. What would you like to see done?
We already did part of it, which was an executive order to amp our rules and basically oversight of electric vehicles. 91% of all of the fatalities out there are totally preventable if people will wear helmets. Please, everyone wear a helmet if you're in a non-enclosed vehicle. Everyone wear a helmet, many lives will be saved. Everyone wear a seatbelt. Many lives will be saved. And then on top of that, there will be legislation to follow up my executive orders to put more police on the streets, more operational protection, because these vehicles now, the electric vehicles that are now on the road, are way faster and more powerful, and people are out there getting creamed. You see pictures of cars. Of course, drunk driving always is a concern. Please never drink and drive. But in addition to that, if people are in seatbelts or wearing helmets on their motorcycles, mopeds, scooters, you'll see a deep drop immediately in these fatalities. And it's the ER doctor in me speaking, not really so much the governor. We will have to look at helmet laws once again, because some of them expired decades ago. And honestly, it is a new era. Now people can go so much faster and they're unprotected. And that's why those preventable deaths have been occurring.
All right, Governor Green, thank you so much for stopping by this morning. We could talk for half an hour about all these issues. Appreciate you joining us to spend some time.
You say when.